see you procrastinating writing your sales copy for your service or your online course. Keep watching this video to find out how to use this schedule to get your sales page copy done in just one day. We're gonna go over the full schedule and exactly what you need to do during the day to get your sales copy done. But step number one is to block off a day on your calendar that you are not gonna do any other kind of work. No meetings, no other random tasks, no checking your email. You are all in on writing your sales page copy. Sometimes if I have work like this I need to do, I would like to spend maybe the first half of the day working from a coffee shop, or I might even book a hotel room so that I can have some skin in the game to really make sure that I get it done and take it seriously, and that I'm in a different environment where none of my usual distractions are going to have an effect on me. Step number two is to gather your supplies. First and foremost, you need to download the Google Doc template that we're going to use to create your sales page copy. And I'm even going to encourage you to just use that as the page that you send to people to buy your offer until you make enough sales to then maybe invest in getting your sales page designed. This way, by the end of the one day of writing your copy, you can actually start making sales. The other thing that you're going to want to gather in this gathering of materials is any and all information that you have anywhere else, maybe in your Google Drive, maybe in a notebook, somewhere else about the offer that you're writing a sales page for. Maybe it's somewhere where you documented what's included in the offer, or maybe it's some, chats that you had with target clients that has a bunch of language in it that could be useful in your sales copy. Or maybe it's even a sales page you already have or started writing somewhere that we can use as a starting point. You want to make sure that you have all those materials together before we begin. Okay, there is a catch. I do have some bad news and I've got to issue a warning. During this process that I'm about to share with you of writing your sales page copy in one day, it's not necessarily going to feel like you're making a lot of progress. This is a very common thing I hear from my students. They're so convinced that writing looks a certain way. It looks like opening up the document and starting to write. That when I go over the process of building the page, they don't see the first 80% of the work as actual writing. And that's exactly why they struggle to write. I believe in all areas of life and business that there's a tipping point when you start to see the results of your work. And it's like a graph that kind of looks like a hockey stick, right? There's a tipping point where all that work you've been doing now starts to click and the results start to happen. And that's exactly what's going to happen as you follow this process for writing your sales page in one day, or however many days it takes you to write your sales page copy. The other thing I want to mention before we dive into the schedule is that the result you get by the end of this day is going to depend on your level of experience and how many decisions you've already made about your offer. If you're really clear about your offer, but you don't have a lot of copywriting experience, it might take you longer to get this done. And by the end of the day, you might have a really solid, what I call shitty first draft, but you're gonna wanna do a lot more finessing because you gotta build that copywriting muscle and work on that skill. If you have some copywriting experience, but you don't have as much detail about your offer, this process is also going to challenge you because you're going to have to make decisions about your offer that might take a little bit longer. So just like the first example, you might end up having a good, shitty first draft, but it's going to be missing some information because you've got to go follow up and do that, which is also great because now you know what information you need to find and plug into your sales page in order to get it done. Now, if you have more copywriting experience and your offer is clear, then this is going to be a breeze of a process. And you're gonna be able to apply your experience and just plug in the information about your offer. So depending on which camp you fit into, you are going to have a different level of quality of sales copy at the end of the day. That's to be expected. I hope that's obvious, but I don't want it to deter you from getting started. This process is for you whether you are a novice copywriter and a brand new entrepreneur, or you've got years and decades of experience like I do. Let's talk about the schedule for the day. This is what it's going to look like. I'm gonna assume that you've got 6 hours to work on your copy uninterrupted, and we're gonna split that into the first 3 hours, the second 2 hours, and the final hour. Now, Little caveat, inside of my program, the Sales Page Kit, I actually teach people to do this process over a 5-day period, and I call it our copywriting bootcamp. And each day for the 5 days, I have you work on a specific section of the Sales Page Kit. So what I'm doing here is we're condensing that schedule for those of you who want to get it done extra fast. But if you want to break this process down and instead of doing it in a day, you want to do it over a week, you can absolutely do that. Here's how it's all going to break down. You're going to spend the first 3 hours of your day working on the first half of your sales page. And really, you're going to be gathering information and answering questions, and it's not going to feel like you're working on copy at all. Let's break it down even further. I'm going to explain to you exactly what you're going to do in the first 3 hours of your 1-day sales page copywriting sprint. What is absolutely vital during these 3 hours is that you gather every single piece of language and information that you have about your offer's core positionings, meaning like who it's for, why it exists, how it's going to help them, what's the result, what's the transformation, and secondly, the offer details itself, what's in the box, what's included, all of that kind of stuff. In the Sales Page Kit version of this process, I actually have my students fill out 6 worksheets to help them to gather all the information that they need about their offer before they start building their sales page. Those worksheets are the brand, the muse, the offer, the insurance, the credibility, and the FAQs. If you have the Sales Page Kit, I would definitely go and use those worksheets. And by the time that you've filled out all those worksheets, you will have all the information that you need to put on your sales page later on. If you do not have the Sales Page Kit, I'm not gonna leave you hanging. Here are the questions that I really want you to focus on answering over the first 3 hours of your day. And I'm giving you 3 hours because I'm gonna give you a summary of questions, but you've got to answer these in an immense amount of detail, as much information as physically possible. Why did you create this offer? Who is this offer for? What is the core problem this offer solves? What is the result or tangible transformation this offer will help create? What type of offer is this? Meaning like, is it a course, a service? Like what actually kind of offer is it? What is included in the offer? Like what are the things I'm gonna get? How is the offer organized? How is the offer delivered? What limiting beliefs are preventing someone from saying yes to this offer? What is your guarantee or refund policy? What makes you the right person to create this offer, or what makes you credible? What results have you helped others create with this offer or similar offers? And what are the common questions people ask before buying an offer like this? Little pro tip here, I recommend creating a Google Doc where you can document those questions and your answers in FreeWrite that you can refer to later, because we're literally going to be pulling from the language that you use in your answers to these questions to plug into your shitty first draft of your sales page in the next section. At this point, you're 3 hours into your day and you don't feel like you've made a lot of progress because all you've done is fill out a bunch of questions and answers in a Google Doc and you're like,
Courtney, where is my sales page?
Remember, this is exactly what I'm talking about, how there's a tipping point when all this pre-work you're doing is then going to turn into a sales page. And now is the time in the next 2-hour block, we're gonna start building that. You're gonna start to see how it's going to come together. During this 2-hour block, you're going to create an outline of your sales page following the 14-part sales page framework that I talk about in this video. You're also going to create a headline for each of those 14 sections. And then we're gonna start to take content from your pre-work. If you're in the sales page kit, those worksheets. If you're just following the questions, those answers to those questions, and we start plugging that content in on the page. What's great about this part of the process is it's a lot of just copy and paste. Don't get hung up right now on trying to finesse the language. The whole point is we're breaking down the steps to make it easier. You're literally just organizing. We're just organizing the information. That is how easy it can be for these 2 hours. If you do have the sales page kit, there's worksheets to walk you through this process. I've got formulas for every single section on your sales page for all the headlines and exactly how to, like, what to do with the body content and how to plug that in and how to lay that out. So that's what I would refer to if you have access to that kit. Congratulations. At this point in the process, you technically have a shitty first draft of your sales page. This is a really big deal. This is so much farther than you've gotten before. And while you might have a lot of judgments about your copy and like, I would never share this with anyone, etc., this is how it's supposed to feel when you do the writing process the right way. No pun intended. Now that we have this shitty first draft to work with, we can start finessing it. And that is what the last hour of your day is all about. And you know what's funny? This is what people think copywriting is, when copywriting is really all the stuff that we've done up until this point, and finding the fun language is like the cherry on top. So what I recommend that you do is go through your page and make notes or comments if you're in Google Docs of all the changes or updates you like to make. Don't get lost in the weeds here. I really recommend even printing out the page and taking notes so then you can go back in and you don't get stuck in any one section. This is where you're going to look at transitions and headlines and making sure the page is flowing. Is there any missing information? Take note of all of that. And you can see how it's coming together and take note of anything you like or don't like and start to change the language on the page if you don't like the way that you've worded things. I think you should be really proud of what you've accomplished in this one day, but you probably still have some more work to do on your page. I said you'd have a finished sales page, not a perfect sales page by the end of the day. There's no such thing. Sales pages are living, breathing documents that should be constantly updated. And I would rather that you put that shitty first draft out there for people to see so they can actually buy from you than you hide it and don't put the offer out there and then you're not making any money. Not helping the people that you want to help either. So what I recommend doing next is in the next couple of days, give your brain a little break. It's amazing what happens when you have fresh eyes. And then go back to your sales page and do another round of revisions. Revisions are so much easier than writing the copy in the first place. It's so much easier to take something and go, oh, I don't like that, I'd rather say it like this, than to have a blank document and a cursor of doom blinking at you, taunting you. I've got some more YouTube videos in the works on how to help with this, including a video on how to use ChatGPT to make this process even faster, probably cut it in half or more. I also am creating videos on how to finesse your copy and freshen up the language if you're kind of feeling like about the language in your sales page. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that upcoming content. And then if you haven't yet, you've got to watch my full sales page training here where I go over the 14-part sales page framework that's going to be absolutely necessary for you to watch before you tackle writing your sales page.